Welcome. This plant is Huernia keniensis and it is in bloom. The flower is right here, but before I show it to you from a little bit closer, I would like to talk a little bit about Stapeliads in general. Huernia keniensis is a member of a group of plants that are called Stapeliads, and they are all succulents, and they are all pollinated by flies. And here is my collection of Stapeliads. I have quite a lot of them, and many of them are in bloom right now, and some of them I have already showed you on a video before, but let's go back to Huernia keniensis. The plant right beside the plant in bloom, this one, is Huernia keniensis as well. As you can see, it produces stems that go down, and the stem that we see, the one that is going down, grew that long from last year, because what happened last year, there was a different stem going down, and from that stem there was yet another stem. It was quite long and quite heavy, and it just broke off. So I put all the stems that broke off into this pot. So these two plants are basically the same clone. In this pot there is another plant, which is a cactus. This is a Rytel, so please don't pay attention to it. When I had those broken off pieces of the original Huernia keniensis, I had to put them somewhere, and I put them with a Rytel, so that's why there is a different plant in it. Okay, so these are all Stapeliads, and as you can see, they are all very similar when it comes to growth pattern. They are all succulents, and they are all from the environment where there is not that much water. In fact, the environment is just shaped by lack of rain, and there are not that many options that a plant can follow when it comes to its architecture, let's put it this way. The plant has to make sure that there is not that much evaporation going on, so it reduces the surface area in relation to the volume of the plant. It gets rid of the leaves, and in fact this growth pattern is very similar to a growth pattern to different succulents from different groups, and I will show you in a moment some other succulents not from Stapeliads, not from the group of Stapeliads, that follow the same pattern. So we are now looking at three plants from different parts of the world, from three completely different families of plants. One is a cactus, one is a euphorbia, and this one is called Senecio stapeliformis, which means it is Senecio that looks like a stapelia, and it does look like a stapelia indeed. That's why the name. All these plants follow the same growth pattern because they are adapted to the same kind of environment, and they are subjected to the same environmental pressure. So all the plants on this table, which are all members of the Stapeliads group, look very much the same. In fact, some of them are completely undistinguishable. We can't really tell which species they belong to if they are not in bloom. So there are Huernias here, different types of Huernias. That's Huernia zebrina, Huernia scitula. This is Huernia macrocarpa, Huernia schneideriana. This is Orbea variegata, and our two Huernia keniensis here. There is a tiny little Huernia tureti in the little pot, and right beside it, there is Huernia procumbens, and there are two Stapelias at the back. One is grandiflora, I think. I'm not sure, it will have to bloom. And the other one is yet different species. And there are three Caralumas here. And as you can see, they all look pretty much the same when it comes to the shape of the stems, the entire design of the plant. However, the flowers are completely different from each other, but also completely unique when it comes to when you compare them to the flowers of other groups of plants, other families of plants. Okay, so this is Huernia zebrina, a flower of Huernia zebrina. Here is Huernia scitula, actually Stapelia scitula, in bloom. Look how beautiful it is. Here is Huernia schneideriana. There is a flower here, but I think this one will be better visible. I'm not sure whether you can see it. It's right here. Huernia macrocarpa, which is here, was in bloom yesterday. This is where the flower was. It closed, unfortunately, but it has some flower buds still here. And this will be Huernia keniensis with a flower that looks exactly like, well, maybe not exactly, but it's very similar to Huernia schneideriana and Huernia macrocarpa. The flower is here. I will have to put the plant upside down just to be able to show it to you, or maybe there is another flower here. Maybe the one here will be better visible. I will try to lift it and show it to you. Here it is. I hope it is visible, and if not, they look exactly like the schneideriana, so are very similar to schneideriana. And here is a beauty. Here is Orbea variegata with one flower here. One flower faces the other way, the other side, with a flower bud in front of it, and there is another flower here, and there are some other flower buds here on the plant. Actually, these plants are in bloom constantly. When I made the videos about them, I made a video about the first flowers that occurred this season, but they are constantly blooming. One flower is closing, the other one is opening. And what I'm actually hoping for a seed pod from from the Orbia variegata, because it is really attracting flies. There is one just flying around and it is visiting these flowers. I really hope I will have some seed pods here because they are very interesting. I was trying to pollinate the flowers myself, but it's not that easy actually to artificially pollinate Stapeliads. So as you can see, the flowers are very unique. They look like nothing else, basically. They are very because flowers do not respond to environmental evolutionary pressure, they respond to their pollinators. And because different plants in different parts of the world are pollinated by different things, in very different ways, so the plants, the evolution, it can be very creative when it comes to the design of the flowers. And these particular flowers are pollinated by flies, so they are disguising themselves into looking as if they were rotting piece of meat, a dead carcass of an animal somewhere lying on the desert, inviting the flies to lay their eggs on them. How I take care of them, it's very difficult to give any advice because these plants are very susceptible to rot when overwatered, and if they are not watered enough, they will just die and dry out and die. So it is really a good idea to have at least 2 specimens of each of the plants, and to keep those plants in very different places because they are very, very moody. For example, this Caralluma, the one this is Caralluma hesperidum, and it used to be much bigger, it used to bloom, and somehow last winter the main stem just rot and died, so I just took off the stems that were growing from it and put them in separate pots. So I do have 3 separate plants in 3 separate pots now, but they are not blooming yet. This Caralluma, this is Caralluma bruchardi, it has some flower buds which are barely visible. They are here. It was in bloom it was in bloom at the beginning of summer, but I missed the flowers and I didn't make a video about them. So I will, when it is in bloom, I will be trying to show it to you. However, the flowers are not really that spectacular. They are very interesting, but not spectacular at all. So I cannot give you really advice as how to take care of them, except watch them. If you have a Stapeliad, whether it's Stapelia or Huernia or Caralluma, just be aware that you have it. When you water it, make sure you water it only after the pot had a chance to dry out completely, but don't let it be dry for too long. And just be aware that these are plants that don't have a long life expectancy anyways. So if you break off a stem and root it, that will be the best way to ensuring that you don't lose it, that you still have at least the clone of the plant. Well, I hope you found this video interesting and useful. I hope you can see the beauty of Stapeliads and the beauty of nature in its weirdest, let's put it this way, because the word weird is the best word to actually describe the flowers of Stapeliads. They are very unique. They are like nothing else. Thank you so very much for watching my video. Have a great day.